I think when it comes to Barr's testimony before Congress, I think he's going to get a lot of questions about what was said inside the Justice Department, what was said by Bob Mueller as a special counsel, and what was said by Bill Barr. And I think to the degree that there are disagreements, Democrats are going to seize on any disagreements to suggest that this process was unfair, that somehow or other Barr put his thumb on the scale.
After carefully reviewing the facts and legal theories outlined in the report, and in consultation with the Office of Legal Counsel and other department lawyers, the Deputy Attorney General and I concluded that the evidence developed by the special counsel is not sufficient to establish that the President committed an obstruction of justice offense.
Democrats, we fully expect, are going to go after him pretty hard, and they're going to try to make him admit that there are significant differences between what he had said before the report's release and what the report actually said. Democrats seem pretty focused right now on portraying Barr as essentially a lackey of the Trump White House, that he is essentially doing the bidding and protecting the president. That's something that Barr has insisted he's not really doing. He insists he will be a fair arbiter of this process, but there's already a lot of skepticism. He's going to go into these hearings facing a lot of skepticism from Democrats, and I think you're going to see a Barr who is defensive of his own work, but also willing to throw some punches where he thinks people are trying to make political points as opposed to legal ones.
There was relentless speculation in the news media about the president's personal culpability. Yet, as he said from the beginning, there was, in fact, no collusion.
The Congress and the Justice Department were fighting over these redactions even before the report was released. Now that a redacted version of the report is out, those fights are going to continue, but some of the steam has come out of those fights because a lot of the report is not redacted. But there are still lawsuits about the redactions. There are still fights between Congress, particularly House Democrats, and the Attorney General, Bill Barr, over the redactions, and they're going to keep fighting about those. And I don't know that Democrats have really agreed on where they want to go ultimately on the whole issue of all the evidence that Mueller found and what to do about it. Politically it seems to be a double-edged sword.
There are many ways to hold the president accountable. The Congress, the Justice Department may have not decided to use its full power to impeach, to indict. Congress will not be silent.
I think right now we should continue this investigation. I think Mueller should come before and testify. I don't think we should be having that conversation. I think we should still pursue the facts.
We have a Constitution of the United States, and it says when a president engages in this kind of activity, then it's time for impeachment.
I don't think that we should defeat Donald Trump through impeachment.
I think that there's definitely a conversation to be had on that subject.
I think it would be perfectly reasonable for Congress to open up those proceedings.
It's really up to the House Democrats, particularly on the House Judiciary Committee. That is where an impeachment process would start, and so it's really important what that committee decides to do next. The chairman of that committee, Jerry Nadler of New York, has basically suggested he's interested in pursuing impeachment but hasn't committed to anything.
Even in its incomplete form, however, the Mueller report outlines disturbing evidence that President Trump engaged in obstruction of justice and other misconduct.
They have to decide, are they really going to go for something like impeachment? Are they really going to start the impeachment process at a time when politically that looks risky for them?